The soft beep of machines filled the small room where Jai-Ho Park worked. His fingers moved quickly over the control panel. He had done this job so many times he could do it with his eyes closed. System check complete. All functions normal, Jai-Ho said to himself. He looked out the window of Outpost Sigma 9. Stars filled the view. Somewhere out there, Earth had once existed. But that was long ago. 300 years had passed since what the galaxy called the cataclysm, the end of Earth, the end of humans, or so everyone thought. Jai-Ho was, as far as he knew, the last human alive. He touched the small metal disc that hung around his neck. It contained the only pictures he had of Earth, images passed down through generations of his family. His great-grandparents had escaped on one of the last ships before Earth was destroyed. Park, are you done with the checks in Section 4? The voice came through his earpiece. It was Supervisor Gai-Su, a tall Xorian with blue skin and 4 eyes. Yes, sir. Just finished. Moving to Section 5 now, Jai-Ho replied, keeping his head down. Good. Work faster. We have an important ship arriving today. Jai-Ho nodded, though Gai-Su couldn't see him. He grabbed his tool bag and walked down the long gray hallway. His steps echoed in the empty space. No one at Outpost Sigma 9 knew what Jai-Ho really was. To them, he was just another Turavian, a species that looked similar to humans, but came from the planet Turavia. The disguise had worked for 5 years. It had to keep working. The stories told about humans in the galaxy were not kind. Humans were described as dangerous, unpredictable, violent. If anyone discovered his true identity, his life would be over. Jai-Ho entered Section 5, a large room filled with communication equipment. The machine tier connected Outpost Sigma 9 to the rest of the galaxy. As he began his checks, a loud alarm suddenly filled the room. Red lights flashed on all screens. An emergency signal. Jai-Ho stood frozen, staring at the main screen as it flickered to life. The face of a luminary appeared, a being made of light with glowing eyes. Jai-Ho recognized the special markings. This was no ordinary message. It came from the Galactic Council itself. Attention all outposts and stations. The luminary spoke, its voice flat but urgent. This is an emergency broadcast from the Galactic Council. We face a threat of the highest level. A void swarm has been detected entering our galaxy. 3 outer systems have already gone dark. All available information must be shared immediately. Any knowledge of similar past events must be reported to the Council. Jai-Ho felt his heart beat faster. Void swarm. The words awakened something in his memory. The message continued. The luminary and Nyx's collective defenses have failed. We call upon all species, all knowledge. The swarm does not communicate. It only consumes. Updates will follow. The screen went dark. Other workers rushed into the room, talking loudly. Fear filled their voices. Jai-Ho remained still, his mind racing. Void swarm. He had heard that term before. It was in the old Earth records his family had saved. Stories passed down, warnings from the early days of human space travel. For the first time in years, Jai-Ho felt something other than the need to hide. He felt a pull, a responsibility. Humans had encountered something like this before. The knowledge was lost to the galaxy, but not to him. That night, alone in his small quarters, Jai-Ho opened a hidden panel in the wall. Inside was a data crystal, glowing faintly blue. It contained Earth's final archives, knowledge saved before humanity's downfall, knowledge that might save the galaxy. Jai-Ho looked at his reflection in the small mirror on his wall. His human face stared back at him. Maybe it's time, he whispered. Time for the galaxy to remember humans. 3 days after the emergency message, Outpost Sigma 9 was buzzing with activity. Ships from all over the sector arrived, bringing important people and new equipment. Jai-Ho kept his head down, working twice as hard to avoid notice. He was fixing a broken air filter when his supervisor, Gai-Su, approached. Park. The command center needs someone to repair their main view screen. Go there now, Jaisu ordered. Jai-Ho nodded. Yes, sir. Right away. The command center was the heart of Outpost Sigma 9. Ji-Ho had never been allowed inside before. His heart beat faster as the doors slid open. Important officials from many species stood around a large round table. They were watching broken images on the main screen. Jai-Ho moved quietly to the control panel beneath the screen. As he worked, he listened carefully to the conversations around him. The Void Swarm has already consumed 3 more systems, said a tall luminary, her body glowing with soft blue light. Nothing stops it. Not our weapons, not our shields. What exactly is this swarm? Asked an older Xorian commander. A hologram appeared on the table. Ji-Ho paused his work to look. The image showed a massive dark cloud moving through space. Inside the cloud, millions of small black objects moved together in perfect patterns, like a single mind. The Void Swarm is unlike anything we have seen before, explained the luminary. It seems to be made of millions of small machines or creatures. They move as one. They break down everything they touch, planets, ships, even stars, and use the materials to make more of themselves. Jai-Ho felt a chill. The description matched exactly what was in the old Earth records. Have we tried to communicate with it? Someone asked. The Nyx Collective has tried every known form of communication, replied the luminary. The swarm does not respond. It only consumes and grows. Jai-Ho finished his repairs, and the screen came to life, showing clear images now. Everyone in the room gasped. The pictures showed a beautiful green planet being surrounded by the dark cloud. Within minutes, the planet's color began to fade as the swarm covered its surface. That was Elara Prime, 3 days ago, said the luminary. Population, 8 billion. Now it is gone. Silence filled the room. Ji-Ho stood frozen, watching as the planet in the recording turned gray, then black, then crumbled into pieces that were absorbed into the swarm. The Galactic Council has called an emergency meeting, continued the luminary. All species must share knowledge. There must be something in our combined histories that can help us understand this threat. Jai-Ho knew there was. But the knowledge wasn't in their histories. It was in human history, a species they thought was extinct. As Jai-Ho left the command center, his mind raced. He had to make a decision. Keep hiding and let the galaxy face the swarm without human knowledge, or reveal himself and risk everything. Back in his quarters, Jai-Ho opened the data crystal again. The blue light illuminated his small room as he searched through ancient Earth files. Project Blacklight. Jai-Ho read aloud from the glowing text. Earth year 2157. First contact with void-based collective intelligence. The report described how early human explorers had encountered a similar entity in the Ta-Ceti system. The humans had found a way to disrupt its patterns, confuse it, drive it away. The solution wasn't strength or advanced technology. It was something uniquely human. Jai-Ho closed the file and looked at his packed bag. He had already decided. He would leave Outpost Sigma 9 tonight and find a way to reach the Galactic Council. Time to show the galaxy what a human can do, he whispered. Jai-Ho moved silently through the dark hallways of Outpost Sigma 9. It was the middle of the night cycle, and most of the staff were asleep. His small bag contained everything he owned. Some clothes, his tools, and most importantly, the data crystal with Earth's secrets. He reached the shuttle bay and stopped. He needed a ship, but he couldn't just steal one. The alarm would sound immediately. Jai-Ho looked at the schedule on the wall. A supply ship was leaving for Central Hub in 1 hour. That was his chance. As Jai-Ho waited in the shadows, he heard footsteps. He ducked behind a large container. "I know you're there," said a soft voice. "Come out slowly." Jai-Ho's heart sank. He was caught before he even started. Slowly, he stepped out from his hiding place. A luminary stood before him, her body giving off a gentle blue glow. Jai-Ho recognized her from the command center. She was one of the scientists studying the Void Swarm. "You're the technician from yesterday," she said, But you're not heading to your workstation. What are you doing here with a packed bag? Jai-Ho considered lying, but something in her eyes made him hesitate. The void swarm was coming. Soon, nowhere would be safe. Maybe it was time to take a risk. My name is Jai-Ho Park, he said, standing straight. And I'm not a Turavian. I'm a human. The luminary's light flickered in surprise. Humans are extinct. No, some escaped before Earth was destroyed. I am the descendant of survivors, and I have information about the void swarm. Humans encountered it before. The luminary stared at him for a long moment. Show me, she finally said. Jai-Ho took out his data crystal and held it up. This contains Earth's final archives, knowledge saved before our planet was destroyed, including a report about a void swarm encounter near Ta City. I am Hay Newell, lead researcher for the Luminary Science Division, she said. If what you say is true, you must come with me to the Galactic Council. They will arrest me just for being human, Jai-Ho said. Perhaps, but if you have information that can save billions of lives, is that not worth the risk? Jai-Ho nodded slowly. He had already made this decision. My ship leaves in 20 minutes, Hay Newell said. We can be at the council headquarters in 3 days. On Hay Newell's small research vessel, Jai-Ho finally opened the full contents of the data crystal. Hay Newell watched as he connected it to the ship's main computer. Earth's scientists called it a collective intelligence swarm, Jai-Ho explained, pointing to the ancient text on the screen. It's not just one creature or machine. It's billions of simple units that together form one mind. That matches our findings, Hay Newell said. But how did humans stop it? Jai-Ho scrolled through the files. They didn't try to destroy it with weapons. That only makes it stronger. They didn't try to talk to it using math or logic. That failed too. Then what worked? Hay Newell asked, her light pulsing with curiosity. They confused it, Jai-Ho said, finding the right file. The swarm thinks in perfect patterns. It expects logical responses. Humans did something no other species tried. He opened the final report, showing records of the human mission. They broadcast chaos at it. Music with changing rhythms, jokes that don't make logical sense, paradoxes, poetry, things that only make sense to emotional beings. Hay Newell's light dimmed as she processed this information. That would never occur to luminary scientists. We think in patterns and logic, just like the swarm. That's why you can't beat it, Jai-Ho said. But humans think differently. We're unpredictable, emotional, sometimes illogical. Things the galaxy has always feared about humans, Hay Newell said quietly. Jai-Ho nodded. The very things that might save everyone now. Hay Newell's ship traveled through the stars, racing toward the Galactic Council. Jai-Ho sat at the control panel, watching space fly by outside the window. They had been traveling for 2 days now. One more day until they reached the council. We're receiving another emergency update, Hay Newell said, her blue light flickering as she opened the message. The screen showed a map of the galaxy. A large black area was spreading across one side, growing larger each hour. The void swarm was moving faster now. It has consumed 7 more systems, Hay Newell said quietly. At this rate, it will reach the council world in less than 2 weeks. Jai-Ho studied the map. Look at its movement pattern. It's not random. It's following a specific path. Hay Newell looked closely. You're right. It seems to be moving toward areas with the highest concentration of technology and energy. It's seeking resources to grow, Jai-Ho said. The old Earth reports said the same thing. It's attracted to power signatures and complex technology. Suddenly, alarms blared through the ship. Red lights flashed on the control panel. What's happening? Jai-Ho asked, grabbing onto his seat as the ship shook. We're passing too close to the outer edge of an affected system, Hay Newell said, her hands moving quickly over the controls. Sensors detect small pieces of the void swarm nearby, fragments that broke off from the main group. Jai-Ho looked out the window. Small black objects floated in space around them, each about the size of his hand. They began to move toward the ship. "They sense our energy signature," Haynul said, her voice tense. "I'm shutting down all non-essential systems to reduce our profile." The lights inside the ship dimmed. The heating system shut off. But the fragments kept coming. "It's not enough," Jai-Ho said. "They can still sense the main engine. If we shut that down, we'll be stranded here," Haynul replied. Jai-Ho thought quickly. This was the moment to test his theory. He ran to the communication system. "What are you doing?" Haynul asked. "Testing human chaos against swarm logic," Jai-Ho said. He connected his data crystal to the system. Earth's archives contain music, poetry, jokes, paradoxes, things that only make sense to emotional beings. Jai-Ho selected an old Earth song with changing rhythms and unpredictable beats. He sent it out through the ship's external speakers, broadcasting it into space. "Will this work on just fragments?" Haynul asked, watching the black objects getting closer to their ship. "We're about to find out," Jai-Ho said. The fragments reached the edge of the broadcast area. They slowed, then began to move in confused patterns. Some spun in circles. Others changed direction randomly. After a minute, they drifted away, moving back toward the main swarm. Haynul's light brightened with excitement. "It worked. Your human chaos confused them." Jai-Ho nodded, relief washing over him. "It's only a small test, but it confirms the old reports. The swarm can't understand or predict patterns that don't follow strict logic. We must get this information to the Council immediately," Haynul said, restarting the ship's systems. "This could save billions of lives." As they continued their journey, Jai-Ho watched the stars outside. For the first time in his life, he felt proud to be human. The very things that made humans different, their emotions, their creativity, their sometimes illogical thinking, might be exactly what the galaxy needed. "We'll reach Council space tomorrow," Haynul said. "Are you ready to reveal yourself to them?" Jai-Ho touched the data crystal around his neck. "Yes, it's time for the galaxy to remember humans, not as destroyers, but as saviors." The Galactic Council headquarters was a massive space station shaped like a wheel. Thousands of ships from all species came and went from its many docking bays. Haynul's small research vessel joined the line of incoming ships. "Stay calm," Haynul said to Jai-Ho as they prepared to dock. "Let me do the talking at first." Jai-Ho nodded, though his heart was beating fast. He had never been around so many different aliens before, and soon they would all know what he was. After they landed, Haynul led Jai-Ho through crowded hallways. Beings of all shapes and sizes rushed past them. Some were tall with many arms. Others floated instead of walking. All looked worried. "The council chamber is this way," Haynul said. "They're in emergency session because of the void swarm." They reached a large door with armed guards. Haynul showed them her Luminary Science Division badge. "I have critical information about the void swarm," she said. "We must speak to the council immediately." The guards looked at Jai-Ho with suspicion. "Who is this?" one asked. Before Haynul could answer, Jai-Ho stepped forward. "My name is Jai-Ho Park. I have knowledge that can help stop the swarm." The guards let them pass. Inside, the council chamber was huge and round. In the center was a table where representatives from the 12 most powerful species sat. Above them, a large screen showed the void swarm's progress across the galaxy. All eyes turned to Haynul and Jai-Ho as they entered. "Lead researcher Haynul," said a tall, golden-skinned alien at the head of the table. "What brings you here with such urgency?" "Council Leader Taiwan," Haynul replied with a bow. "I bring information that may save us from the void swarm. This is Jai-Ho Park. He has knowledge from an ancient encounter with a similar entity." Taiwan looked at Jai-Ho with 4 sharp eyes. "What species are you, Jai-Ho Park? You look like a Turavian, but something is different." Jai-Ho took a deep breath. This was the moment of truth. "I am human," he said clearly. The room erupted in shocked voices. Some council members stood up. Guards moved closer with their weapons ready. "Impossible," shouted one council member. "Humans are extinct." "Clearly not all of them," said Tadawun, raising a hand to quiet the room. His eyes never left Jaiho. "How did you survive, human? And why reveal yourself now?" "I am a descendant of those who escaped Earth before the cataclysm," Jaiho said. "I've lived in hiding, but now I can help. Humans encountered the Void Swarm centuries ago. We found a way to defeat it." Taiwan's expression hardened. "Guards, arrest him." "What?" Haynul's light flashed in surprise. "But he has the information we need." "What he has is dangerous," Taiwan said coldly. "The human does not know the full truth." As guards grabbed Jaiho's arms, Taiwan stood and addressed the council. Humans were not just victims of a natural disaster. Earth was not destroyed by a random cataclysm. It was contained. Jaiho felt like the floor had dropped from under him. "What do you mean, contained?" "Your species was deemed too dangerous to join the galactic community," Taiwan continued. "Too unpredictable. Too emotional. Humans were quarantined in their solar system for the safety of all other species. You destroyed Earth." Jaiho whispered in shock. "Not destroyed. Isolated. The barrier created disturbances that damaged your planet, yes. But it was necessary." As the guards dragged Jaiho away, he looked back at Haynul. Her light had dimmed with sadness, but her eyes met his with determination. "The unpredictability they fear might be our only hope against the swarm," Jaiho shouted as the doors closed behind him. Jaiho sat in a small white cell. There was only a bed and a small table. No windows. The door was solid metal with no handle on the inside. He had been there for hours, thinking about what Taiwan had said. Earth wasn't destroyed by accident. The Galactic Council had trapped humans on purpose, all because they thought humans were too dangerous, too unpredictable. The door suddenly slid open. Haynul stood there, her blue light dim as if she was trying to hide herself. "Quickly," she whispered. "We don't have much time. The guards will be back soon." Jaiho jumped up. "How did you get in here?" "I used my science clearance to override the lock," Haynul said. "But it won't last long. Come with me." Jaiho followed Haynul down empty hallways. They moved quickly and quietly, stopping at corners to check for guards. "Why are you helping me?" Jaiho asked as they hurried along. "You could get in big trouble." "Because I believe you're right," Haynul said. "The Void Swarm has already destroyed 2 more systems while the Council argues. Your human solution might be our only hope." They reached a small room filled with computers and screens. Haynul locked the door behind them. "This is a data hub," she explained. "From here, we can access the Council's central computer system." Jaiho took out his data crystal and connected it to one of the computers. "I need to analyze more data about the Void Swarm. The Earth records are old. I need to see if this swarm behaves the same way." Haynul nodded and pulled up the latest reports. Together, they studied the information. Jaiho compared it to the ancient Earth files. "It's the same type of entity," Jaiho confirmed after an hour of work. "And look at this pattern analysis." The screen showed how the swarm moved and adapted. Each action was perfectly logical, following clear mathematical rules. "The swarm thinks in math," Jaiho explained. "It predicts what its opponents will do based on logical patterns, and that's why all your weapons and defenses fail." "Because we also think in logical patterns," Haynul said, her light pulsing with understanding. "The Luminary, the Nyx, even the Council, we all evolved to value order and logic. But humans didn't," Jaiho said. "We're emotional. We make jokes. We create art that doesn't always make logical sense. We enjoy music with changing rhythms. We contradict ourselves. We're unpredictable. And that's exactly what the swarm can't understand," Haynul finished. It can't predict what a human will do. Jai-Ho nodded. The Earth mission used this against the swarm. They didn't try to fight it with weapons. They confused it with human unpredictability. Hanul's light brightened with excitement. We need to bring this to the council. They must listen now. They won't, Jai-Ho said. They're too afraid of humans. We need to do this ourselves. He began typing quickly on the computer. I'm creating a program that will broadcast human chaos directly at the swarm. Music, poetry, jokes, paradoxes, all the things that make no logical sense. We'll need to get closer to the swarm to use it effectively. How will we do that? Hanul asked. We need a ship and permission to leave. The door suddenly opened. Jai-Ho and Hanul froze, expecting guards. Instead, a tall female Xorian in a security uniform stepped in and quickly closed the door. My name is Youngmi, she said. I'm head of security for the council. She looked directly at Jai-Ho. And I've been watching you since you arrived. Jai-Ho prepared to run, but Youngmi raised her hand. I'm not here to arrest you, she said. I've seen the latest swarm data. We're losing this fight. If your human solution has any chance of working, I want to help. Jai-Ho stared at Youngmi, unsure if he could trust her. Why would the head of council security want to help a human? Because I care more about saving lives than following rules, Youngmi said. And we're running out of time. She showed them a data pad with the latest reports. The void swarm has changed direction. It's now heading straight for the council world. Hanul's light flickered with alarm. How long do we have? 3 days, maybe 4, Youngmi replied. The council is still debating what to do. They're preparing to evacuate important leaders, but billions will be left behind. Jai-Ho felt anger rise inside him. They're abandoning their own people, just like they abandoned Earth. Youngmi's 4 eyes blinked slowly. Not all of us agree with the old decision about Earth. Some of us have been fighting to change things for years. She looked directly at Jai-Ho. I need you to come with me. There's someone you should meet. Jai-Ho hesitated, but Hanul placed a gentle hand on his arm. I trust her, she said, and we need all the help we can get. They followed Youngmi through hidden passages in the station. They avoided the main hallways where guards might be looking for Jai-Ho. Finally, they reached a small, unmarked door. Youngmi pressed her hand to a scanner, and the door slid open. Inside was an old alien with gray skin and long white hair. He sat in a floating chair surrounded by ancient books and strange artifacts. This is Council Elder Da-Hyun, Youngmi said. He's been on the council for over 200 years. Da-Hyun's eyes widened when he saw Jai-Ho. A human, he whispered. After all this time. Jai-Ho stepped forward cautiously. You don't seem surprised. I have waited many years to meet one of your kind again, Da-Hyun said in a soft voice. I was young when the decision to isolate Earth was made. I voted against it. You voted against it. Jai-Ho couldn't hide his surprise. Da-Hyun nodded slowly. Some of us saw value in human unpredictability, but we were outvoted. He gestured to the shelves around him. I have collected what I could of human culture. Books, music, art. Things smuggled out before the isolation began. Jai-Ho looked around in amazement. There were actual paper books, old music devices, even paintings that showed Earth landscapes. Why? He asked. Because I believe the galaxy would need humans again someday, Da-Hyun said. And that day has come. He turned to Youngmi. Have you told him about the plan? Youngmi shook her head. Not yet. What plan? Jai-Ho asked. We have a small ship ready, Youngmi explained. Fast and equipped with special communications equipment. We can get you close enough to the void swarm to broadcast your human chaos directly at it. But the council will never approve this mission, Jai-Ho said. Da-Hyun smiled. That's why we're not asking for approval. Hanul's light brightened. We're going against the council. The council moves too slowly, Young Mai said. By the time they decide what to do, the swarm will be here. We have to act now. Jai-Ho looked at his three allies, a luminary scientist, a Xorian security chief, and an ancient council elder. None of them were human, yet they were willing to trust his human solution. I need to prepare the broadcast, Jai-Ho said. I'll need both my data crystal and Elder Dahian's human artifacts. We'll create the most unpredictable mix of human chaos the galaxy has ever seen. Then we must hurry, Dahian said. But first, we need to convince Tawan to give us one chance. Even in secret, we'll need some council resources. Why would he help us? Jai-Ho asked. He ordered my arrest. Because, Young Mai said, Tawan is my father, and he listens to me. Sometimes, Tawan's private office was large and cold. Jai-Ho stood with his three allies, facing the council leader across his wide desk. Tawan's four eyes moved from his daughter Young Mi to the human he had ordered arrested just hours ago. You want me to approve a secret mission based on human methods? Tawan asked, his voice hard. Methods from a species we isolated for the safety of the galaxy. Father, Young Mai said, stepping forward. The Void Swarm will reach our world in 3 days. None of our weapons work against it. Jai-Ho's plan is our only hope. The human way is too unpredictable, Tawan argued. Too dangerous. That is exactly why it will work, Elder Dahian said quietly. The swarm cannot predict what it cannot understand. Tawan was silent for a long moment. Outside his large window, ships were leaving the station. Important people were already evacuating. You have one chance, he finally said. One ship. If you fail, I will deny I ever knew about this plan. Jai-Ho nodded. It was all they could hope for. 6 hours later, a small ship left the council station. It carried Jai-Ho, Hamnul, Young Mi, and a special broadcasting system they had built together. The system contained Earth music with changing rhythms, poems that used words in strange ways, jokes that made no logical sense, and paradoxes that had no clear answers. This is human chaos in its purest form, Jai-Ho explained as they flew toward the approaching void swarm. It will confuse the swarm's mathematical mind. On their main screen, they could see the swarm getting closer. It was enormous, a black cloud filling space, made of billions of small units moving in perfect patterns. We need to get closer, Jai-Ho said. The broadcast must reach the heart of the swarm. Young Mi piloted the ship deeper into the danger zone. Soon, small fragments of the swarm began to appear around them. Starting the broadcast now, Hamnul said, activating their system. From the ship's speakers came a mix of sounds, words, and ideas like nothing the galaxy had ever heard. Earth music with beats that changed unexpectedly. Old jokes that made no logical sense. Poetry with words used in ways that broke all rules. Mathematical paradoxes that had no solution. Jai-Ho watched the screens carefully. At first, nothing happened. Then slowly, the fragments around their ship began to move strangely. Some spun in circles. Others changed direction randomly. The perfect pattern was breaking down. It's working, Young Mi shouted. The fragments are confused. But the main swarm kept coming. Their small broadcast wasn't enough. We need to get to the center, Jai-Ho said. The heart of the swarm. That's where its main consciousness must be. That's suicide, Young Mi said. Our ship won't survive that deep. Jai-Ho looked at his friends, then at the small escape pod at the back of their ship. I'll take the pod. The broadcast system will fit inside it. I can reach the center while you three stay at a safe distance. No, Hamnul protested, her light flashing with emotion. You won't survive. This is why humans were feared, Jai-Ho said with a small smile. We do things that don't make logical sense, like sacrificing one to save many. Before they could stop him, Jai-Ho loaded the broadcast system into the small pod. He looked back at his three friends one last time. Thank you for believing in humanity, he said. Jai-Ho launched the pod directly toward the heart of the void swarm. As he flew deeper, he increased the power of the broadcast. Human chaos flowed out in all directions. The patterns of the swarm began to break apart around him. On the main ship, Hae-Nul, Young-Mei, and the others watched as Jai-Ho's small pod disappeared into the darkness of the swarm. The last thing they saw on their screen was Jai-Ho smiling as he turned the broadcast to maximum power. 3 days had passed since Jai-Ho disappeared into the heart of the void swarm. 3 days of waiting and watching. Hae-Nul, Young-Mei, and Elder Da-Hyun had returned to the council station with heavy hearts. They believed Jai-Ho was gone. The entire council gathered in the main chamber, watching the large screens. The void swarm had stopped moving toward their world. Instead, it was breaking apart, the perfect patterns dissolving into random movements. Piece by piece, the massive black cloud was separating into smaller and smaller groups. "It's working," Hae-Nul said, her blue light pulsing with wonder. Jai-Ho's human chaos is still affecting it. The swarm can't maintain its collective intelligence. The council members watched in amazement as the once terrifying void swarm became harmless floating fragments. The fragments were no longer consuming planets or stars. They drifted aimlessly, like dust in space. "The humans saved us," one council member said in disbelief. "At the cost of his own life," Young-Mei added sadly. Suddenly, an alarm sounded. A small object was approaching the station. "What is it?" Ta-Won demanded. The screen zoomed in on the object. It was a small escape pod, badly damaged but still moving. The pod's identification code appeared on the screen. "It's Jai-Ho's pod," Hae-Nul cried, her light flaring brightly. Everyone rushed to the landing bay. The small pod limped into the station and settled roughly on the floor. Its outer shell was black and melted in many places. It looked like it shouldn't be able to fly at all. The door of the pod slowly opened. Smoke poured out. And then, leaning heavily against the doorway, appeared Jai-Ho. His clothes were torn and his face was dirty, but he was alive. "I told you humans are unpredictable," he said with a weak smile. Hae-Nul rushed forward, her light surrounding Jai-Ho like a warm embrace. Young-Mei and Da-Hyun followed close behind. "How did you survive?" Young-Mei asked in amazement. "I didn't plan to," Jai-Ho admitted. "But when the swarm's patterns began to break down completely, I found a path out. It was like the swarm forgot I was even there." Ta-Won stepped forward, his 4 eyes fixed on Jai-Ho. The room fell silent. Everyone remembered that this was the leader who had ordered Jai-Ho's arrest, who had kept the truth about Earth hidden. "Human," Ta-Won said formally. "The galaxy owes you a debt it can never repay." Jai-Ho stood straight, facing the council leader. "Then repay it to all humans. Tell the truth about Earth. End our isolation." Ta-Won was quiet for a moment. Then he sighed. "There is something you should know, Jai-Ho Park. Something even most of the council does not know." He gestured for Jai-Ho to follow him. In a private room next to the council chamber, Ta-Won activated a hidden screen. It showed a small blue-green planet surrounded by a thin energy field. "Earth still exists," Ta-Won said. "Damaged by the isolation field, yes, but not destroyed. And not all humans are gone." Jai-Ho stared at the image in shock. "What?" "When we decided to isolate your species, some of us argued that humans might be needed someday. We agreed to keep a small population in stasis, frozen, waiting. There are 5,000 humans preserved in a secret facility." Jai-Ho felt tears in his eyes. He wasn't the last. His people still existed. "The time has come to wake them," Ta-Won continued. "The galaxy needs the human perspective. We need your unpredictability, your creativity, your different way of seeing things." 1 month later, Jai-Ho stood before the full Galactic Council. He wore a new uniform with a special symbol, a human hand reaching for the stars. As the first human ambassador to the Galactic Council, Jai-Ho said, I present to you the first 100 humans awakened from stasis. They are scientists, artists, teachers, and explorers. They bring with them the unique human perspective that saved our galaxy. The doors opened, and humans walked into the council chamber. They looked around in wonder at the many alien species. The galaxy remembers humans now, Jaiho said proudly. Not as a danger to be feared, but as a different kind of thinking to be valued. Together, we will be stronger than we ever could be apart.